Stand inside the Budokan, fending off Shinobi and my cool Obi Shotokan. Showing off with my Kama-song, conversate with Samurai while most was playing Pokemon. Ninja stars instead of fidget spinners in my open palm. Dragonfly, somebody must have told you wrong. Fight into my opus forms. Budo chase perfection till technique is reaching epic form. Kinda doing recess while most of my peers was feeding swans. Ninjas flexing muscle, can't hire Buso on broken arms. Genjutsu killer swarms, I triumph till we wrangle alarms. Musashi ducking harm, I'm advancing until they all the song. 5 rings battle for sushi when y'all just...
What's going on, guys? It's Greg Farley from the Wiseguys, and this is a little bit of a sped up version of the finals match from yesterday, September 28th, in the OTS. As you can see, the match started off where it's invoked Mech Knights, and it's kind of like a mirror. It's 2 different strategies. Armin's going for Cyber Dragon, AJ went for a mix of Sky Striker. I think Sky Striker is actually a little bit better, but it works for Armin, and Armin also has some spicy tech such as limiter removal in his deck, so it was an awesome matchup. So Armin starts off, passes his turn, it goes to AJ. AJ activates Meltdown, it's ashed. I guess that's to keep him from even being able to set up columns, which I kind of understand in this match. But Armin goes for Millennium Eyes Restrict off of Instant Fusion. He then special summons Blue Sky into that zone and kind of thinks through his plays. I think he goes for he searches the Purple Nightfall, but then he's gonna normal summon right after this for Alistair, which it is Widow Anchored. Kind of stumbling over my words today. It was a long day yesterday. And from there, if you don't have an invocation, you're a little bit stuck. So AJ played that situation correctly, and you basically have to have it. Armin kind of thinks through his plays and then ends up link summoning for Mech Knight of the Morning Star, which is a very, very powerful monster. And he's going to go for the obvious search. You have to pay cost by discarding a card. AJ kind of fans through his extra deck while he's doing that. Believe some kind of misplay had happened. I wasn't too clear myself, and I was sitting tableside next to a judge. But everything was resolved correctly. I apologize for the glare. There's still a glare issue we're working through, but the camera angle is the camera angle that we wanted for sure. He activates World Legacy Succession to summon the purple that he summoned earlier in the turn, or actually he actually paid cost, and he brought it back with World Legacy Succession. Then he's going to activate purple, to which he searches for the yellow star. Again, apologize for the glare. Yellow star handles back row, so he's going to end up banishing the Blue Sky to pop the back row. And then from there, it was a scapegoat. He changed the scapegoat. And this is where it's a really good thing that Alistair's effect was stopped, or he would have walked into a devastating effect. So Widow Anchor is very important. Very, very important to stop the onslaught that Armin was coming with. And that's basically what that deck is designed to do, is to put massive pressure on your opponent. AJ wanted to use the scapegoat for defense. And as it turns out, he just kind of slowly plays this turn. And then he mind controls and links away. I think that was just to see what the card was, but I don't think that was that great of a play. It wasn't too bright, but you know, these guys are in the finals, so they know their decks backwards and forwards. AJ starts his turn activating Meltdown to search Alistair, and then normal summoning Alistair, which it gets through. AJ searches Invocation off of Alistair. He activates Invocation, and he banishes the Ash. So Purgatrio is about to do a lot of damage, and I think that was when a judge question was asked on whether, because the monster was fusion summoned on the other side of the field, could he trigger Madness Invoker. This was a judge call. I wasn't too sure how it turned out. I had actually stepped away from the table because I had to handle some business. And also, I don't think he can respond anyway because of the magical meltdown. So anyway, as the game continues, AJ goes into his battle phase and begins clearing the field completely out with Purgatrio. which is basically what Purgatrio is designed for, is to just run over everything on the board and basically punish you for having advantage. It's a massive power swing, and it's one of the few monsters in the game that can swing the game the opposite way with one card. I believe because it's in a different zone that the Mech Knight actually doesn't die, the Morning Star, which is a little bit interesting. I actually didn't catch any of this, but as we go back to Armin's turn, the Purple Nightfall returns. Armin kind of thinks and plays through, and then from there he thinks some more, plays through. Took a very long time. I think I actually came back to the table. We took a very long time on this turn. Obviously, again, you're playing a chess match. And he banishes Purple Nightfall to search for the blue sky. Or no, he searches Red Moon. That's correct. So he searches Red Moon. Sets a column so he can special summon the Red Moon, so he can pop the Purgatrio that did so much work for AJ. And then again tries to apply pressure on AJ to try to get the game over. I think the damage came up a little short. Again, AJ's checking over the card. And then he flips Scapegoat in the end phase, which is, you know, scapegoat or scapegoat. It's just a massive power swing that I don't know why Konami didn't do anything to it, but they didn't. And very quickly, AJ goes through his plays. And his scapegoat plays Nightmare Phoenix. He actually had grabbed the wrong card. And he actually did say Nightmare Phoenix out loud, so nobody was going to shark, nobody cared about him sharking. To which he changed limiter removal, I think, which is very strange. Strange tech. It's just my opinion. It's a little bit of a brick, but Armin likes to get the game over with, and if you can actually check out his deck profile, there's a lot of machines in his deck with Cyber Dragon that he main decks, as well as Mechaba and the things that you contact fuse with the Cyber Dragon. But AJ summons back the Link Karibo to getting rid of the token. Normal summons an Alistair, summons a Mechaba, and then summons Boral Sword. Then activates another invocation that he searched to make another Mechaba. Kaiju's the Mech Knight away. And then this is pretty much game, I'm pretty sure, because it gains 3,000, and that just completely wiped that game away. AJ main decks Kaiju's, so both of these guys have interesting techs in their deck. They both know their decks backwards and forwards, but they play a completely different style. But then they still do the same thing with both decks. They're both still trying to take the game over and get the game over with. Obviously, I don't think it's too good of a strategy against a deck like Altergeist, like True Draco, like Pure Sky Striker, like Goki. But if you can kind of manage to avoid some of those decks and then meander through or try to navigate through playing against that matchup while we're giving them a chance to side, you're kind of at a disadvantage with these decks. But if you can navigate through them, or at least tech out your deck to be able to handle them, you could do pretty well. You know, I think they both sided Hatronade. AJ has a unique one-of style in his side deck. He one Reaper, one Hatronade. Go check his deck profile out if you didn't already on our channel. But it really, it really leans to the fact that they both play the same way. Obviously, AJ is going to go first, but they play the same way, but they both play their decks completely different. And I think Invoked is actually good for the game, and Mech Knights are good for the game. It requires interaction and a lot of strategy. You can't just do anything blindly. You have to think the entire time, and that's good for the game. AJ ends up starting this game off, and he sets one and passes his turn. He goes back to Armin. Armin ends up thinking for a while. This is where I think I return back to the table, but a Twin Twisters and hits Barrier, which, you know, that pretty much ends your turn. He normal summons Alistair. It gets ashed. And then from there, you know, all you can do is really punch for 1,000 and pretty much end your turn. Forgive the glare again. I think the normal summon of, or no, Blue Sky, excuse me. Blue Sky to search purple. Then the meltdown gets ashed immediately because you don't want to give another column. If Alistair can resolve, then you get another column. If you keep creating columns, you're getting more deeper into that game state. So it goes back to Armin. Armin summons Blue Sky and then searches 2 cards because AJ has 2 cards in that same column. He activates Meltdown, and then he immediately realizes that his game is about to end quickly. And rather than waste time, which AJ is a master of getting matches over with quickly. If you ever have the pleasure of playing him, he's an awesome guy, funny person, amazing person. But he's a master of time management, and I think this is the deck for him because he's good at it. He's really good at it with decks like Paleo, and so is Armin as well. But as you can see, like, he's kind of methodical the way he plays, whereas AJ tries to get the game over immediately, and this deck fits him like precisely. So again, we get into game 3. Or no, I think they're actually shuffling up, but I don't remember what happened and why the Alistair was out of the deck. But as they get back into the game 3, Armin starts off with a Mecha Buzz, so he has to lose a Blue Sky. I mean, Indigo Eclipse as a light target, which, you know, it's not that important in your opening hand, but it's still losing a card. And then he sets a card in the column as close to his deck as he can get. He Kaijus the Mechaba in the same column, so that would make your opponent think that you're going to pressure them. But then he Reapers after that, and he actually Reapers Armin's Mechaba, to which he chains Called by the Grave because he didn't want that to happen. So AJ engages and then searches Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones searches for Kagari. Summons Kagari, excuse me. And then the Kaiju is specialed onto the field. He punches over the Kaiju and he punches for 15. And AJ, this is where AJ wins the game pretty much because of what he sets. He sets a Dimensional Barrier, and in the mirror match, Dimensional Barrier is nuts. So is Mind Crush, but Dimensional Barrier is pretty silly. And I actually think Barrier is pretty good because of the Cyber Dragon matchup for this deck. So again, he normal summons Alistair to try to take back over the control of the game. He adds that to the hand. Fans his graveyard out, fans AJ's graveyard out, kind of thinks it out. And as he activates Invocation, he chains Barrier, and that's a devastating card that almost ends the game pretty much. You know, everybody that was around actually let out a big groan. I wish we had a table camera actually, or a table mic. It would have been very hilarious for you to hear. But AJ again starts to put pressure on Armin. Anytime you stop the Alistair in the mirror, it's devastating. I mean, it's obvious. It's not rocket science that's what would devastate the matchup. But he Droll locks Armin, and the Droll lock in this situation, terraforming in the meltdown. Droll lock again is a power swing in this match, and it basically leaves Armin a little bit stuck. And I think the Kaijus is what's working extraordinarily well for AJ. AJ flips the Scapegoat, and anybody with a pulse knows that that's almost game over completely. So Scapegoat came up 3 times in this match, and as he links away and Link climbs to end the game as quickly as possible, he summons Madness. He basically is going into Boral Sword, I believe. And then Boral Sword with a Kaiju and a Scapegoat token, and a normal summon. Or no, he summons a Blue Sky, excuse me. And after he summons a Blue Sky to search 1, he Valors the Boral Sword, I believe. And it's still going to be a lot of, it was still too much damage. He didn't even need to attack with Boral Sword. But even if he had passed back the turn, unless you could get the Purgatrio, the game was pretty much over. And as you can see there, AJ ends up winning the match pretty handily. He obviously quick scooped the second game because he knew, you know, when you go first in this matchup, you shouldn't waste too much time. If you're in a game 2 that's going to swing with time, then you might as well realize you're in a losing situation and just get the game over with. So as you can see, AJ Jones becomes the OTS champion in Kansas City at Collector's Cash in LENEXA, Kansas. Shout out to the store. It's a beautiful store, great, gracious host. And if you can you can check it out, and you can check it out in the deck profile. AJ is the master of one-offs, and the strategy works for him. And I feel like in Yu-Gi-Oh, if it works for you, it works for you. Make it work. Take it to the top. Do what you can. Again, this is Greg Farley from the Wiseguys. Appreciate you guys tuning in with a little homage to Winter Kills. I actually enjoy his videos. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Signing out.